Good morning, and welcome to the University of Florida's Center for African Studies, Achebe, Baldwin at 40, Interrogate and Commemorate. My name is Alani Okuwadu Ilori. I'm the program coordinator for the Center for African Studies. Over the next 2 days, we will interrogate and commemorate the historic meeting between Chinua Achebe and James Baldwin here at UF in April of 1980. I'd also like to welcome you to this event platform that we're hosting the event on, SL Events. So let's take a moment and learn how to navigate the platform. Open a new browser and log into www.slevents.com/e/AB40. Now, before we enter the event, let's look at these tabs here on the event landing page. We have the About tab, our Program tab, Speakers, and Sponsors. Here in the About tab, you'll see a little bit more about the event, as well as the full programs for day 1 and day 2. Under the Programs tab, you'll see the sessions in SL events that will take place on the main stage. Under the Speakers tab, you'll be introduced to all of the participants in the Achebe Baldwin at 40 event. Click on anyone's picture and you'll see a little bio and learn a little bit more about each of our guest speakers. Under the Sponsors tab, you'll see all of our sponsors, thank you to all of them, that made this event possible. Click on any of their logos and you'll be taken to their website. Now let's enter the event. Click Enter Event. Once you enter the event, on the left-hand side of the page, you'll see the lobby and the stage tabs. Here you'll find the program, the sponsors, our speakers, and a Living Archive tab. Click the Living Archive tab, and you'll see a link that says Explore a Living Archive, and you'll be taken to the Center for African Studies virtual exhibit or the Living Archive. Explore a video archive, a digital zine, a timeline of the life of Achebe and James Baldwin, and so much more. Back to SL Events. If you click on the Stage tab on the left, you'll be taken to the main stage. This is the screen where Achebe Baldwin at 40 will be broadcast in its entirety. Another important feature is the chat feature here on the right. During the live Q&As or anytime during the event, you may pose a question by simply typing here in the chat function, and the speakers will see your question live. If you're joining us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or watching live on YouTube, you can pose your questions or comments in the chats beneath the video. I know we're eager to jump right into the event, but first, I want to say a special thank you to everyone that helped make this event possible. Everyone that gave their time and their passion and shared their stories. I feel really honored to be a part of this event where African and Black voices come together to make a beautiful sound. Now, without further ado, Achebe Baldwin at 40.
Greetings and a warm welcome, everyone, to Achebe Baldwin at 40. Universities are places where history, with rare exception, is studied but not made. I love that this gathering is dedicated to that rare exception. We are together to celebrate the 40th anniversary of a historic first, the first meeting between James Baldwin and Chinua Achebe. But in a larger sense, we are here to reflect on the making of history itself, how the meeting originated, the racist takeover of the PA system, and Mr. Baldwin's courageous retort, the spontaneous feeling of familiarity between these two literary giants, how they would speak of their first meeting in later years. 40 years on, what are we to make of the fact that this fateful meeting, so important to literary history and the history of Black America, took place at a university? We're all familiar with the history that is made on battlefields, in the halls of government, and on the streets. This sort of history has also been made at universities. George Marshall unveiled the Marshall Plan at Harvard in 1947. President Kennedy gave his moonshot speech at Rice in 1962. Stokely Carmichael's 1966 speech at Berkeley helped to sweep Black Power into the lexicon. In my view, however, the Baldwin-Achebe meeting here at UF represents a beacon for a different kind of history making. This is the history that is made when great minds and great spirits have the freedom and opportunity to connect. It is history that was instantly recognizable to the audience in 1980. As Mr. Achebe remembered in his essay, "The Day I Finally Met Baldwin," with typical hyperbole, Baldwin called me his buddy, a brother he had not seen in 400 years. The packed auditorium exploded in gleeful applause and nearly missed the terrible aside, "It was never intended that we should meet." I hope that this gathering lights anew the beacon for this kind of history making, that of connection, recognition, and discovery, even and perhaps especially when such history was never intended. Few things were more needed 40 years ago or are more needed today than this freedom and opportunity. Again, welcome to Achebe Baldwin at 40, and best wishes for your own historic connections, recognitions, and discoveries.
Thank you, President Fuchs, for your inspiring welcome. I'm Brenda Chalfin, Director of the Center for African Studies at the University of Florida. I'd like to begin this event with a land acknowledgement. We are standing on the ancestral lands of the Seminole, Potanu, and Timucua people and the diverse milieu of multilingual indigenous communities that comprise these peoples. Please take a moment to honor these individuals and communities, past and present, as we come together over the next 2 days to commemorate and interrogate the historic meeting of Chinua Achebe and James Baldwin at UF in 1980. I want to thank everyone in our audience and all who have made this gathering possible. The UF Office of Research, the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, UF International Center, UF Libraries, the College of the Arts, Office of Diversity Affairs, Center for Humanities in the Public Sphere, African American Studies Program, Center for Arts, Migration, and Entrepreneurship, and Duo Studios. My greatest thanks goes to the many staff, students, and colleagues who have taken their time to share a vision of Achebe and Baldwin and the relevance of Achebe and Baldwin's encounter 40 years ago to the experiences and concerns that we share today. Concerns about writing, concerns about race, about power, about Africa and America. Just as Achebe and Baldwin confronted turmoil in their lives, literary works, and the world around them, we too confront the disruptions of collective violence as well as collective promise today. And with that, the necessity of storytelling, of poetry, of dance, and a return to our ancestors during these challenging times. We see these next 2 days as an opportunity to look to the past and toward the future. It is a beginning as well as a culmination of many months of planning and considering the many voices that need to be part of this conversation. We're particularly grateful to the scholars, authors, activists, artists, and community members who are joining us these next 2 days to share their ideas and insights and their stories in the spirit of 2 towering 20th century literary and intellectual figures who came together so many years ago here at UF. It is an honor to be part of this conversation. We invite you, the audience, to participate, to share your ideas, your questions, and your recollections, and to move this collective vision forward. Welcome to Achebe Baldwin at 40.